Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling Review series for the 9th of uh, June 1990. And of course, we're going through as much as we can of the old Superstars series. There are major gaps, and I apologize for that. I wish the whole series from 86 through 96 was available. I would do all 500 or so if I had the opportunity. Heart Foundation in an enhancement match here. Heart Foundation getting ready for the SummerSlam match with Demolition. Demolition just about announcing the advent of, or the addition of Crush. Brooklyn Brawler and Tom Stone, the opposition here. Of course, Brawler less than a year here away from actually being a non-enhancement guy. Uh, Having some time with the Red Rooster, which, believe it or not, the Red Rooster Brawler matches were fun and enjoyable, at least to me as a kid they were. Got to see two of those in person, and they were fun. But anyhow, Hard Foundation, they tried to split them up in 88, tried to split Brett off, and that did not go according to plan. Meanwhile, in the match, Brett tries to roll up and comes under the chin. I think more than anything, the Bret Hart going singles didn't work for two reasons. One, almost sympathy for Jim Neidhart, who had a worse time of it, and two, they put him with Bad News Brown, which just didn't work. Bad News Brown and Bret Hart had wrestled a good bit in Calgary. They didn't terribly get along there, and then they didn't get along in matches here, so they kind of had to double back to the tag team by the first quarter of '89. And then, they stick with that through '91. I do wonder what would have happened for Bret Hart if, let's say you bump that feud up a year or something with Kurt Hennig into 1990. Do we even have a Texas Tornado Intercontinental title run? Do we, what's that look like? And it's just interesting to kind of look back, even here in this match, Neidhart, more the brawler kind of. I wouldn't say not as enjoyable, but certainly not a guy that you're going to go out of your way to spend a whole bunch of money on. Heart attack, finish, and 1, 2, 3, we're done. We do an update on the splashing of Hulk Hogan on the Brother Love show here. And Tugboat is asking fans, begging fans, requesting that fans are supportive of the Hulkster, trying to give him the impetus to continue going through. Then we see Ronnie Garvin. I did not know Garvin was still here in the summer of, or the spring of '90. I actually thought he left soon after the Royal Rumble, so actually summer of '90. That's a surprise to me. Garvin, of course, a former NWA champion, also his main feud in the WWF. He had two main feuds, really. First, with Dino Bravo, right after WrestleMania 5. Second, with Greg the Hammer Valentine, for the remainder of '89 into the beginning of '90, culminating at the Royal Rumble submission match, which, if you like hard-hitting matches, that Royal Rumble submission match in 1990 is worth taking a peek at. Lots of punches and chops by Garvin. Garvin, of course, moves on before he retires and does some stuff in '92 with Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I don't know that he ever goes back national. He does do the Garvin Stomp, which is his signature finish, which is just plain goofy. Also, though, before the end of the match, he does basically the equivalent of the Sharpshooter Scorpion Deathlock, which I found interesting that Garvin would be put in a position to use that particular move. Then we go to a plug for the Worcester, Boston area. Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine, aka Rhythm and Blues, pumping their match against the Bushwhackers, basically that feud going, and then Hercules saying he's powerful enough to manage the earthquake. Jake Roberts is up next here. and really basic enhancement match for Roberts. Um, Red and yellow tights, which is kind of odd. With Hogan having the red and yellow, I guess a different color red and a little different yellow, but still the same colors. Anyway, Roberts with a short clothesline. Roberts, of course, headed towards SummerSlam, where he faces Bad News Brown in one of Brown's final matches. Roberts gets the victory and then gets attacked by Brown. Brown goes to the outside after casting Jake out there. Goes to the outside, tries to get a steel chair to kibosh Damien the Snake. Doesn't get able to do that. And Roberts manages to completely and totally, finish that off and grab the snake back, try to throw it at Hercules, or I'm sorry, try to throw it at Bad News Brown, and then obviously there's fear there. We go back to the event center again, plugging the Worcester and Boston area this time. Jim Duggan promising to get even with the Earthquake, take him down once and for all. The Earthquake says he fights people from in front, right up front with them, as opposed to jumping them from behind, which, to be fair, Duggan has done now both with Andre the Giant in 1988 and 1990 here with Earthquake. Jim Powers and Kurt Hennig up next. Hennig on a collision course with Brutus Beefcake, which was originally supposed to end with the SummerSlam match. Don't know where that would have gone. Bruce Pritchard and other dignitaries at the time were not 100% sold that Beefcake was going to win the Intercontinental title. Jim Powers is the opponent here for Kurt Hennig. Hennig takes a few body slams and the like, stops on a drop kick. Bobby Heenan, the manager for Kurt Hennig here. If you are an independent guy or lady and you're looking for ways to get heat with just body language and simplicity, this Kurt Hennig, or any Kurt Hennig squash, really worth watching. Hennig moves out of the way and hits a clothesline. I mean, simple moves like clotheslines, the point out to the crowd, the perfect flex 1, 2, 3, your victory for Kurt Hennig, and Mr. Perfect at this point through the end of, or the latter point in 91, such a big deal. Then we see the I guess breakdown of the Bolsheviks. Nikolai Volkov turning babyface here, which was just goofy to me. Even as a kid, I'm like, dude, so your country falls, so you just suddenly become American? Volkov jumps him from behind, and we see the breakdown of the Bolsheviks. Ugly match. I mean, punch, kick, nothing to it. They don't even finish a match. It's more a brawl. And then we fade to the Brother Love show. Where Zukov basically says that Volkov is a traitor. He's not trustworthy. He's not a good person. That's the crux of that. Poor Bruce Pritchard had to carry Boris Zukov through that because with the feigning of the accent, his promo is lacking. Tugboat in a enhancement match here. Shoulder tackles, big type splashes in the corner, real basic stuff, and then the big splash. Of course, Tugboat at this point getting ready to continue a feud with Dino Bravo that started right before WrestleMania 6 or thereabouts. I don't know that does a lot for Tugboat here. Also, by this point in about a month or so, they start talking about Hogan's comeback sometime in July. When they do that, it's clear that they're moving that forward into a bigger deal there, and as we see that, there's talk of Tugboat being in the corner. He eventually gets taken out of the corner because of injury by Earthquake. But again, I don't know that Tugboat really gets over as a character. Typhoon seems to be a bigger deal when he turns heel. Then we go to a vignette. Ted DiBiase talking to a former prisoner who claims the Big Boss Man beat him up. Oddly enough, uh, Gene Okerlund, they do a kind of a balance piece in the same segment. Gene Okerlund talks to the foreman and says that he had been a convict and that the Big Boss Man was nothing but good to him. So DiBiase's shown to be a liar here. Rhythm and Blues, who I think they overfeature at this point, to be honest, have a bit of a squash match here. I think Jim Brunzell is one of the individuals there. Real basic moves on Greg Valentine. Valentine, honestly, at this point, I would say after his end of feud with Garvin, kind of drops off a little bit. I know there are some people who think the Rhythm and Blues thing could have gone further. I'm not 100% sure either way. Some matches I watch and think yes, and certainly Hearts and Rhythm and Blues makes sense, and they could have easily done something there. But also, as far as Valentine's career, I would say 89-90 is the end of him being a major force. Of course, he works independence for probably decades after that. Vertical suplex in this match and kind of drops him down almost like a brainbuster. I don't know if he necessarily lost him or what happened there. It just looked awkward. Double back suplex by Rhythm and Blues. They do singing, dancing, and the like. And then we move on to local area promos. We see the Russian flag and the U.S. flag on the back of Nikolai Volkov. Volkov and Zukov are going to do a series of matches around the loop. Kurt Hennig plugging upcoming matches. Actually, main event match with Brutus Beefcake. Basically saying he's not going to back down from Beefcake. And that will close us for today. We'll be back with more. I think there's 3 shows in June that I can give you. But anyhow, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.